everyone. Breaking news tonight.
Lester Holt.
Throughout the country, more protests demanding change.
The most trusted TV news anchor in America.
That's Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt.
Count on LEX 18 News.
Right now on Evening Edition, officials say the percentage of voters casting ballots in Kentucky's primary this year could be historic. Plus, one of the biggest races in the state today is on the Democratic ticket to determine who will face Senator Mitch McConnell in the general election this fall. Evening Edition starts now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy Cox.
And I'm Kevin Christopher. Thanks for joining us on Evening Edition. The polls are closed in Kentucky, but don't expect final results to come in tonight.
No, this will be an unusual election night in an unusual year. With so many absentee ballots cast, election officials won't announce final results until next week.
Voters in Fayette County started lining up early this morning at Kroger Field to cast their ballots in person.
At one point, the wait in line was 2 hours. LEX 18's Angie Bevan joins us live from the stadium with the latest. Angie.
Good evening, Kevin and Nancy. The polls opened here at 6 a.m. and there were people in line all day. People waiting 2 hours, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. This was also a place that if you had an absentee mail-in ballot, you could bring it here and drop it off if you didn't get a chance to put it in the mail. Now, according to the Secretary of State's office, they were seeing a pretty good voter turnout from those mail-in ballots. And from the looks of it, from the in-person polling locations, both here in Lexington and Fayette County, other counties around the state, they think that we're going to have a good voter turnout for this very unprecedented primary election. Now, the last people were able to get in line at 6 o'clock tonight here. So if you weren't in line by 6 o'clock, sorry, you were turned away. They said they only had to turn away a few people, but if you were in line at 6 o'clock, you got a chance. Now, there is still quite a few people in line here. You can see behind me the end of the line now. It had been wrapping around outside of the stadium, so it is starting to trickle down to the last few people that will be able to get inside and cast their ballot. Also tonight here, LEX 18's Catherine Collins has been following along with these lines and talking to voters here tonight. She joins us now to continue our Decision 2020 coverage.
No longer people waiting outside the gates here at Kroger Field, but we can see them making their way through the line inside still. Last we heard from people leaving the polling location is it's taking them about 2 hours to get all the way through. Now, this is the last of in-person voting today, and it does appear people have been making their way through, but some voters told me they were unprepared for the wait time and would plan to vote absentee in November if they have that option.
If we were going to wait in line for a long time, I was like, I'm probably not going to wait, but it's been moving since we got here, so it's made me a little more motivated.
I got here almost exactly at 4, and it's 5:35, so about an hour and a half. I'm glad I can vote, so I was happy I could vote, but I was kind of disappointed because I still have a final tonight.
And we talked to multiple voters who told us they were very motivated to come out today to vote in that Democratic primary and to vote for Charles Booker. So we'll be waiting to see what those results show. But for now, Angie, back to you.
Okay, Catherine, thank you so much. And over in Anderson County, the clerk says that he is expecting about a 40% voter turnout, and he is saying that is thanks in part to the drive-through voting that they have in Anderson County. We go now to LEX 18's Jacqueline Nye, who continues our 2020 decision coverage.
The county clerk says of the 18,800 voters, 4,200 people requested absentee ballots. The county worked on making it as easy as possible for people to cast their vote, so officials set up a drive-through in addition to walk-in voting.
I mean, I think everybody has a preference, and under the circumstances right now, we have to kind of do that, so or at least offer it as an option. And our county has done a really good job with it, I feel like, and I think it gives everybody an option. There's no excuses why you can't get out to vote.
The Anderson County clerk says of people who have come out today, the drive-through was preferred 3-1. The clerk says if they have to, the drive-through will be in place in November and potentially in future elections in years to come.
I feel like next year, with being a no election year, that the legislature will probably take up some bills and change the way we do voting and give flexibility in counties that want to have voting centers versus precinct by precinct.
In Anderson County, Jacqueline Nye, Evening Edition.
And that'll do it for our coverage here from Kroger Field for now. We'll see you again in about a half an hour with another update. For now, live in Lexington, I'm Angie Bevan. Back to you.
Thanks, Angie. People will be able to continue casting their ballots in Louisville for several more hours. This is breaking news.
Yeah, Nancy, that happened after the U.S. Senate campaign of Charles Booker requested an injunction due to people stuck in lines to park their cars before they could vote. LEX 18's Conroy DeLuche is live in Louisville with that story. Conroy.
That's right. Booker's campaign did file that injunction about an hour ago in an effort to try and keep the lines open and people voting, which was long out the door at the Fair and Expo Center in Louisville. And we did learn about 30 minutes ago that the doors have opened back up for those that are still on the property and in line ready to vote. Now, as for the petition itself, that has also been something that Amy McGrath just tweeted about, that she supports that injunction or is filing one herself. Lawyer Mike Valenti just tweeted about, has also commented on that. He'll have more on that in a little bit. Now, as for the scene here at Christie's Garden, it's still pretty festive out here because the polls are still open, and they're hoping that is good news for their candidate, Charles Booker, who is still hoping to pull off enough votes to pull off what would be considered an upset in this primary against Amy McGrath. Now, Booker this morning, as he pulled up to the Fair and Expo Center, expressed concerns about the voting situation in Louisville for so many people only having one location today. Here's what he had to say.
One location is not enough. It's going to naturally suppress votes. I know the governor and our state officials have been working, expanded voting hours, no excuse absentee. Those are good things. I'm proud of that. We need to build on that. But one location is just going to naturally make it hard for folks.
And that one location did create quite a situation at 6 o'clock. As you can see on social media, we saw a reporter from the Courier Journal in Louisville tweeting that people were banging on the door trying to get inside to vote. Now, as I said, part of that injunction was to reopen the doors. That is happening. People who are on the property and in line were able to go inside or are able to go inside to vote. Not sure how long that's going to take, but the judge is still reviewing the injunction. We'll see what happens later on tonight. We're expecting Booker to come here at Christie's Garden sometime between 9:30 and 10. We'll have more coming up at 7:30. Live in Louisville, Conroy DeLuche, LEX 18 News.
Thanks, Conroy. For a long time in this race, experts viewed Amy McGrath as the clear frontrunner in the primary, and her tens of millions of dollars in contributions shows you why. But does she have enough to come out on top in this unique political and social climate? LEX 18's political reporter Carolina Buchek has the latest on Amy McGrath in this race.
Normally on election night, Amy McGrath would host an in-person event where her supporters can get together and watch the results come in. That will not be happening tonight. A spokesperson says because of COVID-19, they're going to play it safe and not host an in-person gathering. Another difference in today's election is voting itself. Normally, we would show you footage of McGrath voting in person. We don't have that tonight because, like many Kentuckians, McGrath chose to vote absentee. And in a recent interview with LEX 18, McGrath said her campaign's big focus in recent weeks was making sure that people knew which ways they could vote. She says they were making sure people were doing things correctly. The goal was to make sure people could stay safe in the pandemic, but still cast the ballot.
That, to me, is important for our democracy. It's what I stand for. It's what I fought for as a Marine, to make sure that everybody has the right to vote. And I think we need to expand voting in this country and in Kentucky. And I'm doing my part in the campaign right now to try to get everybody to just have that right and do it in a safe way in the middle of a pandemic.
Now, throughout the majority of this primary cycle, McGrath was perceived as the front runner. Since she launched her campaign, she's been raising millions of dollars. She has a war chest of nearly $40 million. That money, of course, is seen as a big advantage by experts. The more money a candidate has, the more ads they can buy and get their message out to more people. And in recent days, the McGrath team has spent a lot of money on ads. If you've watched TV recently, you've definitely seen those ads. But that money is actually something that her competitors have been using to criticize her with as well. One of the attacks she has faced repeatedly in this election is the narrative that she's a candidate selected by people in Washington, D.C. Now, McGrath says she isn't too concerned with those labels. She says at the end of the day, voters will choose, and in about a week, we will find out if she is their pick. Back to you.
While retired Marine and Democratic Senate candidate Mike Breuer may be considered a long shot in the race, but he says after a long travel day talking to voters across Kentucky, he feels better about his chances. Breuer ended his Get Out the Vote efforts today in Lexington, joining supporters and volunteers at Kroger Field as the polls closed. And that's where we find LEX 18's Mike Valenti tonight, who talked to the candidate a little while ago. Mike, what do you have to say?
Yeah, Kevin, regardless of the outcome, Breuer and his campaign volunteers feel pretty happy about the campaign they ran, one that embraced progressive values and brought the idea of universal basic income to the table. Again, UBI is the concept that every single American, regardless of age or income, would receive a payment every single month from the government. It had long been considered a fringe idea, but it garnered attention when Andrew Yang ran for president. When Yang dropped out earlier this year, some campaign staff and volunteers went to Breuer's farm in Lincoln County to work on his campaign, and Breuer was able to secure Yang's endorsement. Of course, the other progressive candidate in this race is Charles Booker, who has surged in recent weeks. So I asked Breuer that if they share the same vision, what makes him the better candidate?
Well, you know, Charles and my platform are very similar, but his is literally a punch list of things he's for. You know, he's for UBI, he's for the Green New Deal, he's for Medicare for All. I've done the math. I have a way to pay for these things. You know, it's not just I'm for it. I am for it, and I can tell you how to implement it, and I can tell you how we can pay for it without breaking the bank.
No candidate wants to imagine this scenario, but Breuer did say should he lose this election, he would throw his support, or he would want to see Charles Booker be the nominee against Mitch McConnell. He would support McGrath if she were the nominee. He said anything it takes to beat McConnell. I also want to add something Conroy alluded to. I did ask Mike Breuer about that injunction that was granted in the last several minutes. He's still learning about the petition, but he says he doesn't believe that extending voting time will affect results at the end of the day. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Mike. Not surprising, polls show longtime Senator Mitch McConnell has a solid lead over those Republicans trying to unseat him. And tonight he's keeping tabs on the races from out of state. Evening Edition's Lee Searcy explains.
As 10 Democrats try to win their party's nomination to challenge Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, the veteran lawmaker doesn't appear worried. He's in Washington, D.C. on this primary day. A spokeswoman says the senator is in session working on the Justice Act, which, if passed, would provide greater police accountability, expanded use of body cameras, and more overall transparency in light of the recent deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Senator McConnell spoke about the proposed bill from the Senate floor yesterday.
We need to be a country where communities of color feel confident that the police are there to safeguard their rights to equal justice and equal protection under law, and not to infringe on those rights.
McConnell, who is currently the longest-serving Republican Senate leader in American history, is seeking his 7th term in office. Former state representative C. Wesley Morgan of Madison County is one of 6 Republican candidates hoping to unseat McConnell. Critics say he's a senator who only governs for his own party and his wealthy campaign donors. But supporters tout his accomplishments, pointing out that he wrote and passed the largest rescue package in the country's history during the COVID-19 pandemic. People on both sides of the aisle know McConnell is a political heavyweight who the majority of Kentucky voters have kept in office since 1985. Lee Searcy, LEX 18 News.
Coming up, LEX 18's political analyst Bob Babbage joins us live via Zoom to talk about why current events could not only shape Kentucky's primary, but also the general election in November.
Well, the day after the primary looks like a good one. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Hit the road with Don Franklin Buick GMC. Get the all-new 2020 Encore GX as low as $22,488, or get $8,000 off MSRP on the all-new 2020 Acadia or Terrain. Hurry into Don Franklin Lexington Buick GMC today. We are professional grade.
To some, it's just a boat. But to Jim, it's his escape from meetings, traffic, and the grind of daily life. He may not catch any keepers, but he wouldn't trade his day on the lake for anything in the world. That's why his boat is insured by Kentucky Farm Bureau. But it's not just Kentucky's Farm Bureau. It's Jim's Recharge the Battery Farm Bureau. My Farm Bureau. Kentucky Farm Bureau. Big on commitment.
At Stanley Steamer, we love homes. It's why we started cleaning them over 70 years ago and why we still continue today. According to the CDC, cleaning is a necessary first step of any disinfection process. We use detergents and cleaning agents to ensure that your home is prepared for whatever life brings in. Whatever home means to you, we're ready when you are to make sure your space is clean and that you and the ones you care about most are safe.
"30 seconds on the clock. Mimo has the ball. Here comes the double team. She's in a trap. Little Jack with the steal, and he's off on the fast break. Oh, wait, they've called a foul. Jack is livid. Jack may be headed to the showers.
Hit the road with Don Franklin Buick GMC. Get the all-new 2020 Encore GX as low as $22,488, or get $8,000 off MSRP on the all-new 2020 Acadia or Terrain. Hurry into Don Franklin Lexington Buick GMC today. We are professional grade.
LEX 18 Storm Tracker Weather in partnership with Hickson Funson Injury Lawyers.
Stuck in the muggies here for a couple of days, but I think a lot of people voted on it. They'd vote to get rid of them, and thus we shall. From Bluegrass Community and Technical College at the UK campus, they're Kroger Field. So again, the voting, you see cars back over there toward the blue lot, so still may have some folks out there waiting to get through. You are looking at the last of the rain heading off to the southeast. Last of these showers now in the northern part of Knott County, getting over into Floyd County. Watched a couple different waves come through during the course of the day today. Most of these were just the splash and dash variety. Some lightning and thunder went along for the ride. And again, we're watching the decrease over the last couple of hours. So what the showers are a part of is a cold front that brings in the pleasant air. The weekend, that same front that brings the pleasant air now comes back north and brings the muggies along with it. Along with that will come some thunderstorms, but a pretty typical summer look through the 8-day. Rain chances, we call it the silent 20 tomorrow. Could be a renegade shower in the southeast. It's a small chance. Most of us will stay dry, even more so on Thursday, but then we start ramping things up, scattered on Friday, and by the time we get you into the weekend, rain and thunderstorms are likely. So there is the front. It is doing its job. Not so much with temperature, but with the dew point, with the humidity, how it feels outside. As we see it work its way off to the east tomorrow, now we get fully ensconced within that Canadian air, and thus the weather is more pleasant. In fact, let's bring out the muggy meter. So right now you're seeing those dew point numbers in the mid-60s. That's in the muggy range. By tomorrow and Thursday, we're comfortable. We start cranking it back up again Friday and just into the yuck, getting into the early part of next week. But now the dew point numbers are going down. You still see a lot of mugginess sitting out here in eastern Kentucky, but look at these numbers, the upper 50s, low and mid 60s. So it is getting more comfortable even as we speak. Temperatures are running upper 70s now here. Pick out your favorite town. Upper 70s to around 80. Boonville's at 80, so is Jackson. South side of Lexington, we're in the upper 70s. It's 77 right now at the Bluegrass Airport, but look at that dew point number, 59. It's getting comfortable. And as long as it's getting dry, let's throw in some Saharan dust along for the ride as well. It's unusual for it to come this far north. It's not unheard of. It's just unusual, and especially to this magnitude that we're going to see. But considering the rain forecast, that could fall as mud. Just a thought. Thunder showers are ending. Cooler, less humid tonight, down to around 60. 80 tomorrow. It's partly sunny, less humid. Your 8-day goes this way. Low 80s on Thursday, mid 80s going into the weekend as thunderstorm chances increase.
Thank you, Bill. Well, this year has already featured plenty of historic events that could forever have an impact on the world as we know it.
From the COVID-19 pandemic to the Black Lives Matter movement, 2020 has had its fair share of events that have been felt around the globe.
LEX 18's political analyst Bob Babbage joins us now via Zoom to talk about how those events may also shape our elections this year. And Bob, perish the thought, but if COVID-19 is still around in November in significant numbers, how might that affect this process if we have to go through this or a version of it again?
Really, I think Kentucky's going to get high marks for the process today. A few bumps along the way, but if we set a record, if we have all in all a big turnout, solid results, a good report a week from today. Tough to wait for these results, but that's the way it works. The big thing, the dominating thing, will be people getting used to not having to go to the polls and voting from home. That convenience may be something that voters say, give me that again, no matter what. There'll be others who say, no, it's too much trouble, too expensive. But once you get used to it, it's quite the change.
Is it that convenience, Bob, that has driven this big turnout, but we still are seeing long lines at the polling places? But what has driven this potentially historic primary?
Two factors probably. First, people were inside a great deal in April because we were all concerned and trying to follow the rules. That may have driven people more to media. What they saw then was McConnell and McGrath running against each other. That heat turned up over May. And then with the focus of the country on racial issues and systemic racism, what to do about it, things changed dramatically, at least in the Democratic primary, and probably for voters across the board. All voters say that they've gone from 40% on race being a big issue this year to 74%. But that says it's of concern, it's a motivating factor for people, and they're going to be paying attention to it. But the convenience factor, the change of our world and the normalcy that we're used to going out the window may have motivated people to vote like never before.
Extraordinary day in extraordinary times. Thank you, Bob. We'll see you again in our next half hour, and Evening Edition is back right after this.
Special guest Eric Stonestreet drops by AGT for a head-turning, high-flying surprise.
My jaw was on this table.
Got Talent tonight on NBC. Tonight.
We're not ready to go home.
This is it.
We have 10 groups, only 4 go through.
Their last chance to show them everything they've got.
Earn it, let's earn it!
World of Dance, tonight on NBC. And every Friday, catch a World of Dance encore with exclusive content.
Hit the road with Don Franklin Hyundai. Get 0% up to 72 months and no payment for 90 days on select new 2020 Hyundai models. Or lease the all-new 2020 Elantra for only $189 per month. Wherever your travels take you, Kentucky's #1 Hyundai dealer can help you get there.
I am a real customer of Bryant Heating and Cooling, and I have been now for 11 years. Why do I do this? Because Bryant has always been here for me. I've had units go down, but when I called them, they were here, and they never left my home until I was comfortable. My system gets regular maintenance to keep it running efficiently. I know that my air conditioner is going to perform its best, even in the worst conditions. But if it doesn't, Bryant will be here. That's why I do this.
Hey folks, this is Duke Owens, General Manager here at Cartown Kia. Our brand new facility will be done soon, but I got nowhere to park my cars, so we're continuing our construction reduction sale. And folks, payments have never been lower at the home of $88 down delivers. For example, this 2015 Optima, or this 2016 Patriot, or this 2019 Escape, $88 down, only $189 a month. Come and see us during the construction reduction sale, or look us up at CartownKiaUSA.com.
The heroes at Comfort Heating and Air put up some super numbers, like Super Service Awards 10 years in a row, 12-year no-hassle replacement warranties, and new systems as low as $89 a month. Super numbers from a super company. Call the Comfort Man today, and I'll be on my way.
Get your Storm Tracker forecast on Nash FM 92.9. More than country, we're country for life.
There was confusion and frustration in our state capitol this morning after a couple hundred Kentuckians were told they would not be getting in-person unemployment help. Evening Edition's Kristen Edwards has that story.
Just as Kentuckians have done for the past week, these folks lined up outside the Human Resources building in Frankfort to get assistance on their unemployment insurance. But to their surprise, a Labor Cabinet employee addressed them at 9 a.m. to say help was not available today.
It's wrong. Everybody else is still getting paid. I'm sure they're still getting paid. I'm sure everybody's still getting paid. Except for the people that are on unemployment that are supposed to be getting these checks.
People were directed to put their names and phone numbers down on these lists, and they were told they would be prioritized for callbacks. But many, some who had driven from hours away or those who had waited overnight, were not satisfied.
We need some help. Seriously, we need help. Everybody out here needs help. If we didn't, we wouldn't stand in this line for all these hours.
We asked the state why services were not available today, and we have not heard back. But we do know that the state is making future plans for more in-person services. Details have not yet been released. In Frankfort, Kristen Edwards, Evening Edition.
This is true crime all the time.
We continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage.
Jury selection is underway. This is what I love to do.
Now on WLEX Digital Channel 18.4. Here's what's on LEX 18 tonight. Sponsored by your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers. Chevy is here to help put you in a new Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Chevy is here for you. Hit the road with Kentucky's #1 Nissan dealer, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan, and get 0% APR for up to 84 months on the all-new 2019 Titan XD, or lease the all-new 2020 Rogue for only $219 per month. Wherever your travels take you, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan will get you there.
You really know of things. Don't you know I'm thinking somehow.
That was really nice.
Yeah, it was.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Here in the heartland, people are getting back on the road, with Toyota offering 0% financing on 10 different models, with deferred payments up to 90 days, and low leases on the affordable new Corolla for $169 a month, or $229 a month for the best-selling Camry, with 2 years no-cost maintenance included.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Start your tractor buying process off-right at Mead Tractor.
Now that you're spending more time on your land, you need to get down to earth out there, and you can start by saving on a John Deere tractor package when you shop online during our Green Tag event. A 1023E compact tractor with mower deck is just $11,695, and a 3025E compact tractor with a loader is just $18,395.
Run with us and get down to earth with a great deal on a brand new John Deere. Visit meadtractor.com.
Hit the road with Kentucky's #1 Nissan dealer, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan, and get 0% APR for up to 84 months on the all-new 2019 Titan XD, or lease the all-new 2020 Rogue for only $219 per month. Wherever your travels take you, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan will get you there. LEX 18 Storm Tracker Weather, in partnership with ADA Heating and Air.
Here's a look at what's in the works tonight for LEX 18 News at 11. We'll bring you all the latest news and results from Kentucky's unusual day at the polls. That's ahead on LEX 18 News at 11.
Thank you for watching LEX 18 News Evening Edition tonight. We continue our Decision 2020 coverage right after this.
"30 seconds on the clock. Mimo has the ball. Here comes the double team. She's in a trap. Little Jack with the steal, and he's off on the fast break. Oh, wait. They've called a foul. Jack is livid. Jack may be headed to the showers.
Emergencies can happen anytime, and all of us here at Fayette Heating and Air want to reassure you we will remain open 24/7 and ready to help. Right now, we're offering 0% financing, 0 money down, and 0 payments for 6 months on any new HVAC system. We want to ensure your safety, so we're offering a free UV light that kills 99.9% of germs, bacteria, and viruses in the air. Call today or visit us online for guaranteed next-day installation. Fayette Heating and Air, turning your bad day into a good one.
Arby's couldn't make a new pecan chicken salad sandwich commercial last month, so we're running an old one. Update, the sandwich is still perfect and the blurry one doesn't exist. Arby's, we have the meats.
During these unprecedented times, Coit is here to help. Our certified background check technicians use the most advanced methods to deep clean, sanitize, and disinfect homes and businesses. Coit has been the expert in cleaning and restoration for over 70 years, and in times like these, trust the pros. Schedule your deep cleaning and disinfecting appointment and save 35% on select services. Call 1-800-FOR-COIT.
Everyone's buzzing about buying local. With the recent bee shortage, I'm keeping a colony of bees right in my backyard. The bees need the attention they needed. That's why UK Federal Credit Union should be your local bank.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Here in the Heartland, Toyota is making it easier to get back on the road by offering 0% financing on 10 different models. Customer cash like $1,750 on the rugged 4Runner. Low leases on the versatile RAV4 for $199 a month. And the family-size Highlander for $299 a month.
All from the brand you trust today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Just different. Everything has been not normal for everybody the last few months.
It's better than working the machines. You just fill in the box and then it just scans it.
Our county has done a really good job with it, I feel like, and I think it gives everybody an option. There's no excuses why you can't get out to vote.
This is LEX 18 News, special coverage of Decision 2020, the May primary.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us for our Decision 2020 coverage right here on LEX 18.
This year's primary in Kentucky is already one for the history books, having been moved from its usual date in May to June due to the coronavirus pandemic.
And to promote social distancing and protect election officials, voters were encouraged to vote by absentee ballot, with many counties having only one or very few in-person polling locations.
And because of that, our coverage tonight will also be different, with fewer results given and really no ability to call any of the contested races.
In fact, it's expected to take a week or so before we know the winners. Well, of course, Kroger Field was a very busy place today, as it was the only in-person polling location for all of Fayette County.
The lines were long, and at one point, there was a 2-hour wait for the people standing in line to cast their ballots. LEX 18's Angie Bevan joins us live from the stadium to set the scene for us tonight. Angie.
Good evening. This was, as you said, the one place in Fayette County for people to vote in person if they had not already mailed in those absentee ballots. Now, of course, we've heard from the Secretary of State's office that they believe we have had a good voter turnout when it comes to mail-in voting. And we believe we're seeing the same with in-person voting across the state as well. It was a busy day here at Kroger Field all day. Beginning at 6 o'clock this morning, voters could line up and get in line to go inside here at Kroger Field and cast their ballot. Then 12 hours later at 6 p.m., the line was cut off. We have now got the last several people still in line waiting to get inside to cast their ballot. But things are beginning to slow down. In fact, they've pretty much consolidated the two lines into one, it would appear. So still a busy night here, but things are winding down. Also, LEX 18's Catherine Collins has been here today talking to voters in line, and she continues our Decision 2020 coverage.
That's right, Angie. We're seeing those remaining voters leave Kroger Field here after voting. And what they're telling me is it's taking them about 2 hours to make it through the line. Now, that is a number we've been hearing throughout the day, but some voters told me they were not expecting to wait that long, but they were happy to cast their ballot despite the difficulties created by the coronavirus. Katie Zorns told me she was not affiliated with any campaign, but wanted to provide water and snacks to people to encourage them to stick it out in line.
I just wanted to encourage people to stand in line and vote. I've seen, Atlanta and the primaries in Wisconsin and people standing in line for 6 or 8 hours. I just wanted to ensure that in the Kentucky heat, people were staying in line and actually casting their vote.
And we'll see how long it takes for those final voters to make their way out of Kroger Field here. Angie, back to you.
Okay, Catherine, thanks so much. Outside of Lexington in Anderson County, the county clerk there says he expects good voter turnout, and he says that's in part due to drive-through voting that they have there, in addition to the walk-in or walk-up voting that they're doing as well. The county worked on making it as easy as possible for people to cast their vote. Officials set up the drive-through in addition to walk-in voting. Anderson County Clerk Jason Denny says he was expecting a 40% turnout today. He says if they have to, the drive-through voting will be in place in November and potentially in future elections in years to come.
feel like next year, with being a no election year, that the legislature will probably take up some bills and change the way we do voting and give flexibility in counties that want to have voting centers versus precinct by precinct.
And the clerk says of the people who voted in person today in Anderson County, the drive-through voting was preferred 3-1. He also says that for folks who showed up for in-person voting, they were in and out in just a few minutes. Now, of course, we know the case was a little bit different here at Kroger Field. People, as we have said, spending up to 2 hours in line. As you talk to people on the way out, you get kind of mixed reviews. For some people, it was a very frustrating way to spend a couple of hours and to wait that long to be able to vote in person. For others, they didn't think it was a big deal, so a lot of it came down to some bit of perspective. For now, that'll do it for us here live at Kroger Field in Lexington. Nancy and Kevin, back to you in the studio.
All right, Angie, thanks. Well, the Democratic candidates for U.S. Senate have spent months campaigning, hoping to get your vote in this primary. And for much of the race, Amy McGrath was considered the clear frontrunner.
She has a lot of support and a lot of cash on hand. But one thing she won't have is an in-person election event tonight. LEX 18's political reporter Carolina Buchek is working remotely following the McGrath campaign. She has more.
Well, on the McGrath side tonight, there is no crowd. There are no balloons, no campaign posters. Clearly, there's no event. And a spokesperson for the campaign says it's because of COVID-19. They will not be having an election night party. But McGrath has spent months talking to voters, making her pitch for why she deserves a chance. And experts say she has a big advantage, more than $40 million in donations. That's a massive amount of money that has allowed her to buy many TV ads. And that has helped McGrath get her message out to a lot of people. And of course, this is something that she has been attacked for by her opponents. They say McGrath is a candidate picked by groups in Washington, not Kentucky. But McGrath doesn't seem concerned by that narrative.
First of all, you remember last cycle, the party didn't want to have anything to do with me, and that didn't matter. This is our democracy. Voters are going to decide. Voters are going to decide, who is common sense, who is the person that is best suited to take on Mitch McConnell. And so, I'm really proud of our campaign. Within the first few weeks of our campaign, we had contributions from all 120 counties.
McGrath is hoping the issues that she's running on will get her the win. She wants changes to health care and a stronger economy in Kentucky. And with the recent protests happening across the country, McGrath says it's clear people need change. But the question is, will that be enough to win? Back to you.
Well, traffic in Jefferson County was the reason Charles Booker requested an injunction to let voters continue casting their ballots in Louisville for several more hours. LEX 18's Conroy DeLuche is live in Louisville with that story.
Now, the crowd here at Christie's Garden in Louisville is starting to fill up as people in Louisville continue casting their ballots, and that's because the Booker campaign, Kevin, as you just said, did file an injunction to try and keep the polls open as the line was still long out the door at the Fair and Expo Center, which is Louisville, like Lexington's, only polling place today. Now, more were allowed inside those doors, and Booker encouraged people to stay in line and in the door. So the judge granted part of that injunction to let people keep voting, but the time has not been adjusted yet, and the injunction itself is still under review. I'm going to step out so you can see some of what's going on here at Christie's Garden. It's a pretty packed house here as we approach 8 o'clock in Louisville. And we're not expecting any results tonight, but there's still excitement here that matches the momentum of Booker's campaign, which has picked up steam since June started. He's picked up endorsements from more than a dozen Kentucky lawmakers, former Secretary of State Allison Grimes, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and former presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. Now, will that support and also the financial boost that he's got in recent weeks be enough? We won't find out tonight, but we'll find out soon enough. Live in Louisville, Conroy DeLuche, LEX 18 News.
Retired Marine Mike Breuer is hoping for an upset victory in the Democratic primary for Senate. He might be a long shot, but says regardless of the outcome, he's proud of the campaign he's run. Mike Valenti is live in Lexington with more about that last-minute campaigning.
Yeah, Nancy, Mike Breuer really became an appealing candidate in the eyes of the self-described Yang Gang. Of course, those are supporters of former 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang, who, like Breuer, supports the idea of universal basic income. So when Yang dropped out of the presidential race, some of his campaign staff and volunteers flocked to Breuer's Lincoln County farm to help him on his senatorial campaign. Andrew Yang is Breuer's most high-profile endorsement, and the retired Marine pointed to recent $1,200 stimulus checks sent to Americans during the pandemic as proof that this idea of UBI isn't as radical as some make it out to be. Charles Booker also supports universal basic income, and there are other parallels between the campaigns. They are both for a Green New Deal, as well as Medicare for all. Breuer says he's the only candidate who can actually implement these plans. But I asked him, should he lose, who would he rather see emerge as the Democratic nominee?
That's a question no one has asked me, and I hadn't really thought about it. I'd much rather see a progressive candidate.
That would be Booker.
That would be Booker, yeah.
Okay. Would you campaign for McGrath if she does lock up the nomination?
I will support her. I will. I mean, we have to beat Mitch McConnell. It's the most important fight.
Volunteers also point out the fact that, look, about a year ago, no one knew who Andrew Yang was. Now he's becoming a household name. He's gained a lot of popularity across the country. They suggested the same thing could maybe happen to Mike Breuer. Regardless of the outcome, they're happy with the campaign he's run, one that stayed true to his convictions. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Mike. In all, 16 candidates are after Senator Mitch McConnell's job, but he doesn't seem too worried about not winning his 7th term in office. Polls show him with a commanding lead over his 6 Republican challengers, as well as having a strong lead over either one of the top Democrats, Booker or McGrath, in November. The Senate Majority Leader is currently in Washington working on police reform. The Justice Act would provide greater police accountability and overall transparency. He spoke on the Senate floor yesterday about how police in general need to re-earn the trust of Black Americans in light of the recent deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd.
We need to be a country where communities of color feel confident that the police are there to safeguard their rights to equal justice and equal protection under law and not to infringe on those rights.
Senator McConnell has held office since 1985. A spokeswoman tells us he'll release a statement about today's primary later this evening.
High-profile names have talked about today's election even before it started. LEX 18's Dia Davidson will have a look at what people are saying about voter turnout on social media. That's next.
The heroes at Comfort Heating and Air put up some super numbers, like Super Service Awards 10 years in a row, 12-year no-hassle replacement warranties, and new systems as low as $89 a month. Super numbers from a super company. Call the Comfort Man today, and I'll be on my way.
Dad can't get around like he used to, and I can't always be there when he needs me, but I'm happy he's able to stay at home. This wouldn't be possible without Family Choice Home Care. During my free in-home assessment, Family Choice helped me realize that hourly care would be the best fit for Dad. They were more affordable than other agencies, and I knew the cost up front. It is reassuring to know that Family Choice takes care of Dad's meals, errands, medications, and housekeeping. I don't know what I'd do without Family Choice Home Care. They are family. At Morning Point Senior Living and Alzheimer's Memory Care, we are still welcoming new residents and enriching the lives of Central Kentucky's older adults. Morning Point offers personal care and memory care solutions so our residents can be taken care of in today's new normal. Our focus is on keeping everyone as safe as possible while providing medication management, physically distanced activity programs, delicious meals, assistance with daily living, and so much more. And we're now hosting virtual tours from our front porch. Call today to see all that we have to offer.
Looking for more than just a walk in the park? Kentucky State Parks offer a whole new world of outdoor adventure, activities, amenities, and championship golf. Grab your family or just some friends and come relax, renew, and rejuvenate in nature's beauty. Accommodations range from rustic campsites and cozy cabins to 17 full-service resort parks offering all the comforts of home. Don't delay, plan your summer getaway today at parks.ky.gov.
Is paper stacking up? Do you have expired documents requiring safe, secure destruction? Wildcat Shredding can provide mobile, one-time, or recurring shredding services. AAA NAID certified means you can trust us to permanently eliminate the risk of storing social security numbers, financial records, and sensitive HIPAA information. And right now, when you sign up for a 6-month service, get 2 of those months free. Shred the ribs. Wildcat Shredding.
The heroes at Comfort Heating and Air put up some super numbers, like Super Service Awards 10 years in a row, 12-year no-hassle replacement warranties, and new systems as low as $89 a month. Super numbers from a super company. Call the Comfort Man today, and I'll be on my way.
This is LEX 18 News, special coverage of Decision 2020, the May primary.
As we've said, this election is unlike any other. A record number of mail-in ballots, fewer polling places, and an injunction, partially granted at least in Louisville, to allow in-person voting be extended past 6 o'clock. LEX 18's Dia Davidson joins us now from the newsroom with a look at what people are saying on social media about today's election.
Nancy, they're giving them at least until 9 o'clock right now, but that's the election. It's unlike any that we've ever seen before, and people are talking about it a lot on social media. Earlier this week, NBA star LeBron James took to Twitter criticizing Jefferson County's decision to open just one polling place for today's election. In his tweet, James predicted providing only one polling site for more than 600,000 voters would lead to a disaster. Well, today, the hashtag All Eyes on Kentucky has been trending as people tweet about voter turnout today. As of 3:30 this afternoon, Miranda Combs, Communications Director for Secretary of State Michael Adams, tweeted there have been up to 103,837 in-person voters across our state. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton retweeted Governor Andy Beshear, adding, quote, "It should be easy for every American to vote. Kudos to Governor Andy Beshear for making that possible for Kentuckians with no excuse mail-in and early voting," end quote. Now, although not everyone was satisfied with the manner of today's election, State Senator Damon Thayer took to Twitter this morning saying, quote, "I voted in person today, and while it was a very smooth process in Scott County, I'll be urging a return to hashtag normal in November," end quote. And as we've said, a lot of people are talking about today's election on Twitter. We're going to take another look at that in just a bit. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Dia, thanks. Well, 2020 has been anything but boring, with events that have had an effect on our entire world, the coronavirus pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement. But could these events also be shaping our elections? LEX 18's political analyst Bob Babbitt joins us live with more about that next.
Hit the road with Kentucky's #1 Nissan dealer, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan. And get 0% APR for up to 84 months on the all-new 2019 Titan XD. Or lease the all-new 2020 Rogue for only $219 per month. Wherever your travels take you, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan will get you there.
3, 2, 1.
Making it to University of Kentucky and then going on to play in the NBA, and just having the people of Lexington embrace me means a great deal to me. To come here and start my own Tony Delcar Macular Generation Center, it means a lot to me. You know, instead of getting surgery or being addicted to prescription pain medication, you have something that you're healing yourself with. If you're in pain, come try the Tony Delcar Macular Generation Center at 2537 Larkin Road.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. Many times your injury was because of a defective product, and our team of product lawyers will bring a claim against the manufacturer. Other times, you need to file for Social Security. Finally, your employer could try to retaliate if you bring a claim, and our employment law team is ready to slap them back hard. You can count on us. There's only one Morgan & Morgan for the people.
Now Simparica Trio simplifies protection. Ticks and fleas? See ya.
Heartworm disease? No way.
Simparica Trio is the first chewable that delivers all this protection. And Simparica Trio is demonstrated safe for puppies. It's simple. Go with Simparica Trio. This drug class has been associated with neurologic adverse reactions, including seizures. Used with caution in dogs with a history of these disorders. Protect him with all your heart. Simparica Trio.
Just wanted to say thank you again for all the work you did for us to get our application through and funded for the SBA program. I've always known we were lucky to have a partner like you and Traditional Bank in our business, but seeing so many other peer businesses out there that were unsuccessful in the same process just shows me even more how great it is to have you all on our side at every step of the way.
This is why we're in business.
Hit the road with Kentucky's #1 Nissan dealer, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan. And get 0% APR for up to 84 months on the all-new 2019 Titan XD. Or lease the all-new 2020 Rogue for only $219 per month. Wherever your travels take you, Don Franklin Lexington Nissan will get you there.
Kentucky's primary election was moved from May to June due to the coronavirus pandemic, which is still affecting the entire world.
And following the death of George Floyd while in police custody in Minneapolis, the Black Lives Matter movement has also sparked protests not only here but around the globe.
How will these events shape our elections? LEX 18 political analyst Bob Babbage joins us live now via Zoom. Bob, good to see you. How much will this month delay? How has it changed things for Charles Booker? He wasn't even considered in the running when this election was postponed, right?
Right. So the legislature ended early, remember, Nancy, and then you had coronavirus hit. So campaigns were not as active as they could have been or might have been. Everything changed. If we come out of the legislature into a normal season and run that primary on time, Booker would have never had the chance to catch on, and Amy McGrath would have been the presumptive favorite. So that's essentially what happened. National events, the pandemic, and again, the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the focus on racism and solutions to racism and action across the state, across the nation, and even around the world, elevated Booker, who's authentic. He's a natural on the stage. He speaks exceedingly well, and he caught on. McGrath had caught on in 2017 in Central Kentucky, came very close in the congressional race, became the presumptive favorite, but you can knock out that term as they go into tonight because the race is much more of a contest than it ever would have been before.
Bob, you say he really caught on, but the flip side of that, is there a certain amount of anger over some of his positions, particularly defunding the police?
Well, the police issue, certainly, as well as the endorsements of folks like Bernie Sanders, although Sanders ran exceedingly well here 4 years ago, you remember, in that presidential race, lost to Hillary Clinton by 1,900 votes. You put AOC in the race, you put other key figures in the Democratic Party who are very left-leaning, and if there is a Booker candidacy beyond next week, those things are going to have to be explained in a different way. McGrath, too, will have to get a restart. Introduce herself again, as she did so effectively originally as a candidate 3 years back, and seize on the popularity that she had in Central Kentucky and other places.
All right, Bob, we hope you'll join us probably a week or more from now when the votes are counted, when every precinct is in, and we'll know what we're looking at going into November. Thanks,
Indeed.
Bob.
We're looking at fragments tonight. We have a lot more to come.
Right, just very small percentages, definitely. Well, news of Kentucky's election has had great reach. Thea Davidson has another check of what people are saying right now on social media, next in your Decision 2020 coverage.
Tonight on LEX 18 News at 11, we break down the first results from Kentucky's primary election, plus reaction from the Democrats' candidates hoping to take on Senator Mitch McConnell in the fall. Those stories and much more tonight at 11.
Here's what's on LEX 18 tonight, sponsored by your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers. Chevy is here to help put you in a new Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Chevy is here for you.
Hey everybody, summertime is finally here, and that has a lot of homeowners thinking window replacement. Hi everybody, Joe with BJ Worzen, owner of West Shore Home. BJ, why is there such a big push for replacing windows in the summertime?
So, two main reasons, Joe. So the first is going to be durability, and a lot of people notice this when they try to open or clean their windows. Old windows are really hard to open.
Yeah, we have an old fixer-upper. I know we've been fighting sticking windows or windows that don't even open at all.
Right, and then the second reason people are looking to do it is energy efficiency. So it's getting hotter and hotter out. That means your system is working twice as hard to keep your home comfortable. People tell us when they install our energy-efficient windows, they're going to notice a difference immediately.
Wow. they can really notice a change that quickly.
You can, and you're going to feel that difference all summer long, especially in those lower energy bills. Joe, we make this so easy. We have all kind of styles and designs to choose from. We can do custom colors. We can do different grid options. Really, anything that you need to make those windows fit your home perfectly.
Nice. Good to know, because a big project like window replacement, you want it done right.
You do, and our guys are expert window installers. That's all they do is window installations, but don't take my word for it. Google us. Check us out online. Google West Shore Home, and you're going to find hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews.
All right, as we kick off our summer window project, do you have a special deal for us?
Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is make this really easy by giving us an amazing financing option. This is the best we've ever done. It's 2 years. No money down, no payments, and no interest. Plus, if you call right now, I'm going to take 50% off the installation cost.
BJ, amazing. Thanks so much, folks. Call the number on your screen right now. You heard BJ. Call the number right now. Get your project started and feel the difference all summer long. If you call right now, BJ's taking 50% off the installation. Plus, he's giving you 2 great financing options. You choose. No money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 full years, or your window or door project installed for as little as $99 a month. Call West Shore Home now.
It's unprecedented. We have many, many households that are coming to us for the first time, and they're not sure where to turn. They're not sure what to do. What we're trying to do is provide a little sense of hope so that people can still have a nutritious meal during these very uncertain times.
Hope over hunger, in partnership with Comfort Heating and Air.
To rebound is to reunite, to recover, to reopen, to remake, to rebuild, to reconnect, and to report what matters.
And local health officials are breaking.
Watch for The Rebound Kentucky in every newscast and everywhere you count on LEX 18. This is LEX 18 News, special coverage of Decision 2020, the May primary.
As we've been reporting just before 6 o'clock tonight, Charles Booker's campaign filed an injunction to extend voting hours in Louisville because of the long lines at the polling place in Jefferson County. Amy McGrath has also filed one, and we're still waiting to hear if that injunction has been granted. That stirred a lot of people on social media. Dia Davidson joins us now from the newsroom to look at what some of those people had to say.
And Kevin, we're also hoping that the Secretary of State will weigh in on this too. Just after 6 tonight, the hashtag Stay in Line began trending on Twitter. In Louisville and in Lexington, we've seen people post about long lines throughout the day. As Catherine Collins tells us, the line has been clearing up in Lexington. But looking at social media, people have largely been talking about Louisville. As the polls closed at 6 p.m., waves of support flowed onto the Twitter site to stay in line or say that they are watching Kentucky's elections. Sophia took to Twitter saying, quote, "I don't live in Kentucky, but I'm fully invested in their election right now," end quote. C.L. Schul retweeted Charles Booker's post about doors reopening in Louisville, saying, quote, "Folks in Kentucky, if you are still waiting in line to vote, but heard or saw that the doors were closed, do not leave," end quote. News of Kentucky's election even reached as far as Ireland. That's where Jackie and Sally tweeted, quote, "To all of you voting in Kentucky, thank you. Your voice deserves to be heard. Please stay in line. The GOP will not be successful at voter suppression," end quote. So as you can see, people all around the state and the world are talking about Kentucky's election. Of course, as we've said, we won't get a full picture of the results tonight, so we'll continue to track all of the Decision 2020 results in the coming days. Back to you.
Thank you, Dia. Yeah, we're probably going to have to wait right till next Tuesday to get the final results of this primary election. Thanks for joining us here on LEX 18 for our special Decision 2020 coverage. And remember, you can always get the latest results and election news on our website, lex18.com.
And the percentages you're seeing on your screen tonight, those are percentages of precincts in Kentucky that have reported results. It is not a clear picture at all. Those are raw numbers of votes you're looking at. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again at 11.
Good night. The first results from Kentucky's primary election tonight at 11.